come on in and tell me what I can do for you this morning.
Answer a question.
I'll try.
Mary May, how would you feel and how do you think the neighborhood would react if we try to take down Councilman Blake?
Luke, are you asking me how I feel about the accountability of an elected public official, or how I feel if I embarrassed a black man?
Certainly slices right to the heart of a matter.
Oh, you noticed that, huh?
Well, justice filled me in on your suspicions about Councilman Blake and what you'd like to do about it.
Okay, well, there's two ways to play this, Mary May. Either we go the slow, tedious route, which is to report him to the IRS and hope for an investigation, or we go public with the questions that all of us have.
And you're asking me about the ramifications of that on the community?
Right.
As well as financial support to the Bradley Ward House?
Wrong is wrong.
And all of us in this room agree with you, Grandma, but not everybody will. A white man goes after a black man, a city councilman, who has risen up the social, political, and economic ladder. Some people will say it's the same old thing, punishing the black man for achievement.
But the people that react that way, they just don't want to see the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've lived most of my life not giving a damn what people thought of me, and I've been called some pretty unpleasant things, but never a racist. I wouldn't like that.
Of course you wouldn't.
Honey, nobody who knows you would ever call you a racist.
Look, there's going to be backlash. Councilman Blake has got a lot of supporters in this neighborhood. You need to be damn sure you've got your facts straight.
Have a look at this, Justice. That's a financial summary of the statement that he filed when he ran for office. Now, look right here. This is his annual income. Right here, you've got his wife's annual income. Now, over here, if you take a look at the value of their real estate, the car, that exorbitant tuition to the private schools for their kids, I mean, how does this add up to you?
Badly.
Well, if that's true, and Councilman Blake is on the take and working for ELQ to bring an incinerator here and destroying the fabric of our community, then
what, Grandma?
then he's messing with me and my babies and the structure that I tried to build here. And nobody, I mean nobody, messes with me and my babies.
Yes, go, Maymay.
How do you want to play this?
Well, as I understand it, you want me to invite the good councilman here in my parlor for tea for a little question and answer period.
Sounds good to me.
And Jason Quartermain would like to be here for that.
And Laura, your good friend, Tiffany Hill, just happens to be in the neighborhood that day?
Uh-huh, with a little camera crew attached to her hip.
Now we're talking.
Yes, do you believe this? Mary May Ward, co-conspirator.
Oh, is that what I am?
Yeah.
I thought I was just having a friendly little tea party.
Councilman Blake is here.
Oh, yeah, and he's driving that jalopy with the $40,000 hubcaps.
Yep.
Where's Tiff?
I think the studio was going to page her. For some reason, she went up to the nature preserve.
Oh, well, no sweat, darling. It's easy enough to stall a politician. You just get them talking. They love to jaw about themselves.
Councilman Blake, this is my granddaughter, Keisha.
Councilman.
How do you do, Keisha?
And this is our friend Jason Quartermain.
Jason, I didn't expect to see you down here.
Really, Councilman? Why is that?
And this is my grandson, Justice Ward.
Bradley's son. Hello, it's a pleasure to meet you.
I've heard a lot about you, Councilman.
All lies.
And I believe you know my two dear friends, Laura and Luke Spencer.
Certainly. Oh, this day is full of surprises.
It's barely noon.
Take a chair.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Councilman, Mr. Spencer has raised some questions on behalf of our community, and we have asked you here today to explore them with us.
I see.
I've taken a personal interest because it looks like I might be in Port Charles for a while.
Well, I do want to thank you for the invitation, Mrs. Ward. And I've been wanting to tell you how proud I am to serve the community that's home to you and the Bradley Ward House. You are certainly an inspiration to us all.
Thank you very much for your kind words, because the reason I invited you is the community, the Charles Street neighborhood to be exact. Its future has been very much on my mind.
The responsibility of the city council and my responsibility as your elected representative to that body to determine the best interests for all members of the community.
That's exactly what we hoped you'd do.
Don't you realize that the taxable revenues generated by this incinerator will pay for after-school programs, for park maintenance, for street repair? You could fall into a couple of those potholes on Royal Street and never be heard from again.
How are the shocks on that car you drive? Do you just see those potholes, or do you actually feel them?
Hi, darling. I hope I haven't kept anybody waiting. Oh, the traffic was murder. You know, they got to do something about those stupid stoplights. They got to fix them, you know.
Oh, well, if it's street repairs you're interested in, you came to the right place.
Oh, thanks for coming, Tiffany.
I wouldn't have missed it for the world, sweetheart.
Councilman, I don't know if you've met Tiffany Hill.
Oh, actually, we have. I cover all the council meetings, don't I? Nice to see you.
I didn't realize the press was invited to tea, Mrs. Ward.
I thought it would be a good idea to invite Miss Hill here to benefit everyone in the Charles Street neighborhood who might not be able to fit into my parlor. We're all very interested in what you have to say about the incinerator, so why don't you just be more specific and tell us what you're thinking on the subject?
Well, my first impression of this project and its impact on the neighborhood was certainly favorable. The incineration of toxic waste unquestionably is the safest means of disposal. The jobs generated, as well as the overwhelming economic impact on the community, can only be positive.
But this is a residential neighborhood. A neighborhood of homes and churches and playgrounds and schools and a lovely old park where children play and neighbors meet. Senior citizens sit out on benches to get the sunlight. I don't want heavy industry in my backyard.
Mrs. Spencer, with all due respect, that's a very limited point of view.
Well, how do you feel about the construction of the incinerator so close to the school?
Or does that concern you, Councilman? I mean, your children do go to a private school on the other side of town, right?
Yes. What about that, Councilman Blake?
Forgive me, Mrs. Spencer, but the location of my children's school seems irrelevant to the issue.
Maybe not.
Perhaps you'd like to explain yourself.
Love to. Councilman, if you look around this room, you see a pretty fair cross-section of this community. Everybody here has got a serious question about what this project is going to do to the quality of life in the Charles Street hood. You, on the other hand, have none. No questions, no problems, no concerns. You've jumped on the ELQ bandwagon. Why is that?
Because it offers very real advantage, economic advantage.
Who for?
I beg your pardon.
This is a copy of the tax return and personal financial statement that you filed at the time of the last election. It raises some very intriguing questions. For example, how you managed to maintain a, shall we say, enviable lifestyle. Vacation home, tennis court, private school for the kids, that big gas-guzzling sedan out front. How do you do that on a councilman's salary?
How dare you? That's enough. And you, this is obviously a racist attack engineered by the white establishment. And you played into this, Mrs. Ward?
I'm no man's fool, Mr. Blake, black or white.
You invited me to my own lynching.
Well, I'd say we hit a nerve.
Don't you think it's ironic that the people your father was up against all those years ago are the same people that we're up against today?
It figures. A toxic waste incinerator seems to be where the money is.
Hey, it's the same old story. The privileged few using their green to muscle the rest of the town around. It's it's been going on a long time.
Yeah, that's why that meeting today at Maymay's is very, very important. We have to decide what we're going to do in opposition to this incinerator and when we're going to do it.
I'm also having lunch with Elizabeth Jackson today. She worked very closely with my father, and Will Green seems to think she might know something about whoever was putting pressure on him before he died. I think you met her at my father's service.
Yes, she's also a visiting professor at PCU. I sat in on one of her lectures. She's wonderful.
So I hear.
And then we had lunch, and she spoke very movingly about your father. Well, it'd be clear to anyone that she thought the sun rose and set on Bradley Ward.
Did she say anything about his disappearance?
She mentioned it, of course. You know, it's funny. I remember wondering if she knew more about what happened than she was saying.
Hi. Lucas and I had the most terrific idea. Oh, hi. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Not at all.
That's all right.
Bobby, I think you've met Justice Ward. I think you met at the nurses' ball, right?
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, we were picketing buddies. Very nice to see you again.
Hello. Hey, buddy, remember me? Your son was one of our best marchers.
Oh, yeah, he was. Well, this is fabulous. Actually, I came over because I wanted to invite my favorite brother and his entire family to come on a picnic with us.
Oh.
So I hope you'll come along. I was telling Lucas all about the catacombs and how we used to go down there and have all those wild times exploring and how much his Uncle Luke used to scare the living daylights out of me when we went down there. And I promised I'd take him down there and go through the tunnels. And then I realized I haven't been down there in so long, I'd probably end up getting lost. So will you be our guide?
Hey, whoa, Barbara, you're running on all four cylinders here, and I can't catch up. We were in a reflective frame of mind. What are you saying?
Well, the whole point is, will you come?
What do you think, Dad?
Lucky, honey, I'm not sure that's such a great idea.
Mom, I know what you're thinking, but it's okay. Sly and I have already been back there.
You have?
Mm-hmm. We just decided that we needed to make peace with it, It was really okay, actually. Besides, I've always wanted to go there with Dad.
All right, cowboy, let's do it.
Cool. Well, all right, then. I'm afraid I'm going to have to pass, though, because Justice and I are going to have a strategy meeting over at Maymay's.
Thanks for the invitation.
You guys have to go along and have a good time, and I guess I'll be coming home to a nice, peaceful, quiet house, and I'll be able to slip into a nice, cool tub.
You sure?
Oh, I think it's going to be a little bit of heaven.
Okay, well, I've got plenty of sandwiches and lemonade.
Well, do you think Foster could come?
Well, sure. The more the merrier.
All right, catacombs it is. Gather up shrimp bait there and go upstairs and get us a couple of flashlights.
Okay. Oh, get a couple of jackets, too, honey, because it gets chilly down
Yeah, okay. Come on, Foster. Hey, look.
You sure you and my daughter will be all right?
Oh, we're going to be just fine.
Okay, you find out anything juicy on our slimy friends, please let me know.
Sure will.
Barbara! To the catacombs!
Before we do anything, we've got to get comfortable.
All right.
Sit down.
I'm fine.
Put the feet up.
Oh, come on, please. You are a saint. My son, Lucky, says that I look like a watermelon on stilts.
Beautiful watermelon. And you tell your son Lucky not to be rude to his mother. And I want you to remember that in no time you're going to be having a little bundle of love in your arms.
I can't wait.
And I can't either.